All right, guys, welcome back into another episode of To The Show Baseball Podcast presented by ProspectsLive.com. I am your host, Andrew Parker, and today's episode, I am joined by Jacob Kisting of the Tampa Bay Rays organization. He is coming off a Pitcher of the Week award for his performance for Bowling Green, and he's pitching in a tough league too. That South Atlantic League is no joke. So we do kind of talk about, his start to the season. We talk about it, being in New York. He got traded over the offseason. So we do, I ask him a little bit about the trade as well, because I do find it very fascinating when guys are traded in minor league ball. So we do kind of dive into all that more. But before I shoot to the interview, if you're watching me on YouTube right now, listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is, please like and subscribe. It means the world to me. Obviously, it pushes me along to keep getting more guys on this program and interviewing them around minor league baseball. But without further ado, let me shoot you on to the interview with Jacob Kisting. All right, Jacob, you are coming off a Pitcher of the Week award, which I'm sure wasn't on your radar going into the week, but it's obviously cool to be recognized by minor league baseball for that. So I just want to ask, how are things going for you on the mound this year?
Yeah, going really well. My first year with the Tampa Bay Rays organization after being traded this past offseason from the Minnesota Twins. Things have been as seamless as possible. The staff here, the players here, everybody have been incredible. Even down to my roommates, right? Like we're driving up, from spring training, and I've got guys. I'm not feeling too great. I've got guys offering to drive me. Just a really good culture over here, which is pretty incredible when it comes to pro ball, just because of how much turnover there is from year to year. So. No, having an incredible time, meeting a ton of great people, playing a lot of good baseball. If I'm not mistaken, Bowling Green Hot Rods, who I'm with right now, we had, if not the best, at least a top three record in minor league baseball going in the end of the first half here. So, lot of really good players, a lot of really good baseball. It's been an absolute blast.
Yeah, Tampa is, it seems like they just always have just a fantastic farm. It seems like they really know what they're doing. I feel like just, with development and winning in the minor leagues, that's something that is kind of lost these days in a lot of orgs. But I do what you brought up the trade, and that's something I did want to ask about since it's still pretty fresh. Like you said, you're in your first full year now in the new org. What was that process like for yourself? I'm sure it wasn't something you were expecting at the time it happened. So I guess, can you walk me through, how that went?
Yeah, definitely not something I was expecting. It was November, so off season of last year. My fiance is a school teacher back home where we live, and she was just getting home from school, and I got a phone call, and it was from Drew McVale, our farm director over with the Twins. And he had told me that I had been traded to the Tampa Bay Rays. And just it was a very smooth conversation. And I have nothing but absolute respect for everybody with the Minnesota Twins. They are a first class organization. They treat their players really, really well. They treat them like people. I still have, some of my best friends that are coming to my wedding this off season, with the Twins. Still get texts from their coaches all the time. So absolutely loved my time with the Twins. But no, definitely not something I was expecting. I was a 14th round pick in 2024, so didn't really have that on my radar. But nevertheless, I think it's worked out really well. Tampa Bay Rays have given me a lot of opportunities here, which I'm extremely grateful for. So yeah, it's as unexpected as it was. It's kind of turned out as a blessing, which as kind of nerve wracking as it was at first. I didn't know anybody in the Rays organization, didn't know any coaches, didn't know the Port Charlotte spring training area. But I was excited to get it going, and yeah, things have been going pretty great so far.
I have to ask, just because I've heard it, both sides of the thing here on, when you get traded, I know some guys are just really I've talked to a few guys that are just hey, I want to know how this guy's doing that got traded for, things like that. Or other guys are whatever, doesn't bother me. How do you look at it with the trade?
It was actually a pretty unique situation. So the Twins came up to Port Charlotte the last game of the like Major League Spring Training side, and I didn't have anything going on that day, and my family was down in Port Charlotte, so we went to the game, and a ton of my buddies were in the bullpen during that game, so we kind of walked around back there, and Eric Orzy, who I was traded for, he was there too, and I actually got to meet him and talk to him for a little bit. Really good guy. I haven't really checked up on anything this year, but I'm open. He's doing great. And I was kind of thinking to myself, I'm like, I feel like that's a relatively, unique experience for a guy to kind of get
It
traded
is.
for another and then meet the guy you get traded for. But no, super good dude. So that I thought that was pretty unique.
Yeah, I never really hear like obviously like I don't think guys are like rooting for the downfall and like guys are trading for, but I know like some guys are like, huh, like I got traded for this guy. I'm curious how this guy's doing because like I don't know. So it's always an interesting dynamic because it's like you said. I think you said this earlier. Like baseball is just like it's a revolving door almost. It's like it's a business, man. So like you got guys all over the place and guys getting traded every year and minor league guys getting traded. It's very fascinating and interesting to see play out sometimes. But so with yourself, like we said, you're in year one with the new org. It's all new faces, all new teammates, everything like that. Like, how important was it for you to get off to, the start that you did? Like, because there's an alternate universe out there where like you might have like a 10 ERA right now. It's like, you might be hurt. Like, there's an alternate universe where it's not probably going as well as it is right now. So I do want to ask, like, how important was that for you to get off on a right foot?
I think, and this was something that early on that the Rays were preaching was, we are not as we are very focused on the process. We're focused on development. We're focused on, okay, we're going to take a few things that you do really well right now. We're going to take a few things that you maybe don't do as well, and we're gonna try and work on them. And I think that was more of the mindset rather than being focused on, the raw statistics or any kind of result. Being really bought in on, okay, this is a process of development. And I think that is, I think you know whether having success or not, parts of success are a byproduct of that. So what we've been able to do here as a team, not just myself, but we've got a lot of guys on here who are top prospects in the org, or guys that aren't necessarily, but they're playing like they're top prospects, that have bought into that same mentality. And I think that that's why, as a team, we're winning the games that we're winning. A lot of games, if you go look at the scores, maybe it's a 1-2 run ball game. Maybe we're down, in the seventh inning, we come back and find a way to win. Like, that's all a byproduct of the mindset that these guys have as baseball players of trust the development, trust your stuff, and it'll all work out in the end.
So something that also I was curious about, you have had experience now with two different player developments and I guess just pitching coaches throughout two organizations now. After the trade and now being in the Rays system, like have they like tweaked anything with your game? Like did they kind of like maybe like, hey, think you should throw this pitch? Like did anything like that happen?
I think last year I'd kind of toyed around with a couple of different pitches, some okay, some not. And I think the Rays were kind of early on. They were going to say, let's just throw all of them and see how they kind of play. And obviously, we're a decent amount of time in this season here, but um, it's still very early in my time with them. So I don't know if they have a great enough sample size to really do anything with whatever yet. So maybe over time. Um, but yeah, right now they're kind of just saying, um, do this and this, and you're going to be fine. But again, kind of like I said, like sticking to a process, not necessarily looking at each score box as its own story, but as a picture in a whole. Um, so I think that's been the bigger advice that they've had for me.
All right, so you brought something up earlier, and I did want to ask about it as well. And you were a 14th round pick, yeah, and out of a, let's just say, smaller school. I mean, obviously you weren't like an SEC school or like ACC or anything like that. Like Bradley's a little smaller school on that end, but still a very respectable program. But do you like, do you carry that like with you? Like, is that like kind of like a chip on the shoulder for you? That like, hey, I was a late round pick. I was at a smaller school. Like, how do you use that as motivation?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of situations where guys who are in a similar spot to me can take that, maybe put a chip on their shoulder, maybe it's something else. I kind of wear it as, like a badge of honor. My head coach in college, Elvis Dominguez, and then my pitching coach, Andrew Warner, who pitched in the big leagues with the Padres and the Athletics for a little while. Um, those two are two people that really built me up to who I am today when it comes to being a baseball player and being from a smaller school, about a smaller area, with a place that might not have the resources as an SEC school or an ACC school. I really take a lot of pride in that. Um, being that with the resources that we did have, with the knowledge they had, um, to be where I am today is pretty. It's humbling for me, to be able to say that I can come from a place like that, a little bit smaller, but having those two throughout those years was huge for me. Um, so yeah, I think I wear it more as a badge of honor instead of saying it's a chip on my shoulder, or anything else. And on top of that, I think there's a side to me that's like, well, there's no expectation. Like if you're coming from a big school or if you're a big pick or whatever, there's expectations for guys, and for me, I'm just playing baseball. I'm enjoying the game that I play, and yeah, that's about it with that.
Yeah, I love that answer. And also, like, I always like I show a little bit more of appreciation for those cold weather state guys, just because it's like, you can't, you probably, when you were in high school, you weren't out like, throwing on the field and being able to do like on field work in like early March, April, like they do down in Texas and Georgia and those places. So I always like to say it's like a little extra like grit or like care. I don't even know what the right word is, but I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I mean, I'm from Wisconsin, just outside of Madison, Wisconsin. So I went to high school at Verona. Um, we've played in the snow, we've played in the rain, we played, mud. There's the clay mounds turn into mud pretty quickly up there. The way I describe it is, and I don't know if I say this as much now about myself, more so because I've played and professionally, I've played more Southern games than I have Northern games. But in college and high school, I always like to call like Midwest baseball is blue collar baseball.
Oh yeah.
If you take you take a lot of those position players, they're I don't know that they've seen I don't know if they've seen a Sunday hop on dirt, until they got to those manicured fields down like backfields down in Florida or Arizona and pro ball. I mean, it's at times it's like playing on concrete. So I think a lot of guys that are from the north get a greater appreciation for, as nice a weather it is down south, as good of fields as there are. So yeah, that's always the way I like to call it, was the blue collar mentality of baseball is kind of coming out of the Midwest.
I like that. I mean, I grew up in the St. Louis area. I know it's a little warmer than Wisconsin, but we still get we were getting snow in March and
Oh
in
yeah.
early April still in Southern Illinois. So I mean, I'm very familiar with it, and I don't know. I just have like such an appreciation because obviously like if you're a guy coming through in Florida or Texas or Georgia, it's like you're outside throwing around in like probably late February, early March at that point. So. Yeah, I always tip my cap to those guys. All right, so I have a couple questions left here before I let you slide. And I always like asking this question as well. Now that you're a little bit away from home right now. I mean, I know it's not as far as it could be. Like some guys are playing out in the West Coast and they're from the East Coast or vice versa. But for yourself, like, what are some of the things that like you really do miss about back home in Wisconsin that you can't get maybe in Bowling Green or down in Florida at the complex? Like, what are some things you're missing?
Well, first thing that comes to mind is Quick Trip, gas station up in
Oh,
Wisconsin.
yeah.
Yeah, absolute staple for all Wisconsinites. I mean, I think no matter what happens, wherever I am in the country playing baseball, that'll always be something that I think about. Um, from uh,
It's
from
a
a
good
from a home
good one.
perspective, yeah, from a home perspective, I mean, I grew up just down the street or just down the road from University of Wisconsin, so I love downtown Madison. I love the lake. I love being down there, especially in the fall. So off seasons are nice just because, Wisconsin football and and Badger basketball and cheese curds and all the stuff that Wisconsinites love. I mean, that's the stuff that you think about during the season that you're excited for in the off season. But it is really nice. My dad has been in. My dad was a principal and a teacher for over 25 years, and still is. So he gets summers off, so I get to see him out at games a lot. And just this past week, my mom was able to come down. So is my fiance and her family. So and I can't thank them enough for how much effort they've put in to come see me play this game. So as much as I miss home, I get tastes of it every so often from those guys, and I'm so grateful for it.
We got to get Quick Trip down to Bowling Green. I mean,
We
that's
have
that's
to.
crazy.
We have to. I know.
I would
We
have
just
thought
have
they'd
to.
be there.
I I I I wouldn't be surprised if they get there at some point. I know that Iowa's got their Quick Star, which I think is under the same sort of branch, but
Yeah.
Quick Trip's pretty centralized in Wisconsin. So I
Okay.
don't know. Maybe the scarcity of it just gives it a little bit more value.
I'm telling you, I grew up. I grew up in St. Louis area. There was a Quick Trip maybe 5 minutes from my childhood home, and
Yeah.
you better believe that once they added that QT Kitchens back in the day, once that came along, like me and all my buddies were hitting that up when we turned 16 constantly. So
Oh,
it's
this one. This is funny because I talked to a lot of guys about that. Quick Trip in Wisconsin is different. So Quick Trip in Wisconsin is Quick, KWIK Trip.
oh
It's a
my
it's a
goodness.
it's a gas station. It's literally it's like how do I best describe it? It's like Wisconsin's version of like Florida's racetrack. So like like you
So
get snacks
it's
stuff
not the
there.
QT. It's a
No, very,
different.
very different. Yeah. So, and I
Mine's
apologize.
blown.
I apologize. I led you on there, but no, we take a lot of pride in our quick trip gas stations.
Okay.
So yeah, that's
Okay.
one that I'm hoping it starts to spread so I can get a little piece of home every now and again. But yeah,
Okay.
that's what we got.
Wow. I thought you were talking about the QT the whole time, but I've never been to the other one, so I
I,
don't know.
Ironically, I've never been to the QT either. So
Okay.
it's kind of
Okay.
a colliding of worlds, but no, it's good. That's
Okay.
awesome.
I'm kind of surprised you didn't give me like, obviously another Midwest staple, and I know it's a Wisconsin staple, like, the Culver's love. Like I'm
Yep.
big on that train. And what else was there? There was I forgot what else there was, but I know Culver's is very Wisconsin, but
Yeah, we got we
I
got a
had that in
couple of those
Southern
in
Illinois.
yeah, we got a couple of those in Bowling Green, which is huge, and
Okay.
those are definitely a Friday staple. Get some ice cream there and a cheeseburger and some cheese curds. So, uh, yeah, definitely spent probably more time than I should at that at that Culver's location, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I'll never forget. I had a guy. I had his name's Braden Ward. He's with Worcester this year in AAA, and he had never had Culver's before. And I talked to him about it. And I was like, I had just had Culver's down in Fort Myers. Like there was a few down there in Fort Myers, and he went and tried it, and he said it was absolutely incredible. I think he's a California guy, so like he had never
yeah,
experienced it before. And I'm like, just get the curds, man. It's just something
yep,
different. Their
yep,
burgers are great. So I don't
absolutely.
know.
Can't beat it.
Always
You
representing.
can't beat it. Yep.
Okay, so I did a pre. I gotta look it up. I will look it up after this on the other quick trip. But I did appreciate that kind of answer. But I do want to ask. Obviously, you have every Monday off in minor league baseball, and when you're not like on the road, you're not like at the field or anything. Like, what are you doing in your free time?
That's a great question. A little bit different in this year. The South Atlantic League. I don't know if you've looked at the geography of the South Atlantic League, but
Yep.
Bowling Green is pretty far removed from every other team. So right now we're in Asheville, playing the Asheville Tourists, and we got on the bus yesterday morning at 10 and got here around 5. And this is our like I think this has been our second shortest
Wow.
away series from a trip perspective. So uh, complete transparency. Right now, we don't get too many Mondays off per se.
That's
A
fair.
lot of bus rides, but while I'm on those bus rides, yesterday, I called my fiance for a bit. I called a couple of my buddies from back home. They were out golfing, so it looked like they were having a good time, and kind of got some secondhand fun through that FaceTime call. But
A little
Um,
bit of FOMO too, I'm assuming,
yeah,
but
yeah. I mean, you always have a little bit of that when you're calling home,
yeah.
um, but no, I mean, honestly, outside of that, it's a lot of travel in this league. So, I'm enjoying it. I'm out on the eastern portion of the country. I don't get to come out here that often, so it's pretty cool to see these places. A couple weeks ago, we were in Hudson Valley and Wilmington. A couple weeks before that, we were in Greenville, playing the Greenville Drive. Bunch of really cool places up and down the East Coast here. So, um, no, I'm enjoying the travel. I'm enjoying the places we get to see. It's a pretty unique experience. I'm pretty grateful for it.
A quick side note here: you obviously are. You mentioned the South Atlantic League, and I'm not sure if people are aware or if you are aware, but I'm sure you are because you're pitching in it. But it's a very, very, very hitters league right now. Like the numbers up and down each of these lineups in the South Atlantic League are. I mean, you're also pitching in Asheville, which is an absolute. It's balls fly in that place. I know they do in Greenville. It's like, have you noticed that a little bit? Just the amount of hits going on in that league.
I have. I've also chalked it up to, well, I mean, this is for us, but I've also chalked it up to we've got some sluggers on this team. I mean, we've got some guys that are
It's
I think
every
can play
team.
baseball. It is every team. Um, yeah, this league can swing it a good amount, and the ballparks are it. It's kind of weird. You show up and you're like, oh, the wind's just always blowing out. That flag's always just blowing out here. Um, but no, it's a great league. There's a ton of talent every week. It seems like we're playing, a top five prospect in whatever organization we're playing, which I think is an incredible experience. So, no, it's a great league, and I've been having an absolute blast.
It'll only make you better, man. It'll only make you better once you get up to Double A because the hitters there are pretty good too. So,
Yeah.
um, all right, last question here,
Yep.
and I saved the hardest for last year. Well, it might be hard. I don't know,
All right.
but I don't know if you like to set goals or not. Like if you do that before the year starts, but what I guess like you can name like one or two, but like what kind of things are you wanting to accomplish by the end of the year that would deem this year a successful season for yourself?
Oh, that is a tough question. I think, every guy sets goals at the beginning of every year. Whether they're, maybe it's a stat or just finishing the year healthy. I think my goal, especially with, being my first year in this organization, has been um get a at least a base understanding of what the Tampa Bay Rays want in their pitchers long term. I think that from a developmental perspective, understanding what they're looking for long term can really help guide my off season and guide seasons to come. And I think that this year is just a really good learning year. Kind of like you said earlier, there's another side of this coin where, I've got a 10 ERA right now, and I would say, whether I'm having the year I'm having right now or I'm having, maybe a little bit of a down year, if I'm learning what they're looking for and I'm able to apply it in my day-to-day routines and my off-season routines, I call that a successful season. Making sure that I'm taking the best step forward that I can every day, every week, every month. Um, so maybe that's not a great goal just because it's not as attain or as oh, what do they call it? We learn about SMART goals in school or whatever, but like putting a value to it or whatever. Maybe
Yeah,
there's not an exact
yeah.
value to this goal. But I think at the end of the season, when I sit back and I look and I ask myself, okay, do you have an understanding of what they're looking for, and were you able to find avenues to achieve it? If I can say yes, if I can sit down, genuinely say yes to that question, I think that's a successful season. Um, and as long as you stack years like that, I think you're gonna find a way to stay in baseball a good amount of time.
I don't know why, but I like those kind of goals better than like you saying like, hey, I want to have like a 3 ERA this year. I want to have like 100 strikeouts, whatever it is. Like I kind of like that a little better. I don't know why. I
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, I think that um it again, like we said, like it takes some of the pressure off of the performance side, and it really just glues you to the process. And
yeah.
as long as you're glued to that, you're gonna find a way to be all right.
Yeah, in the off season, I co-host this with a couple other guys in pro ball, and one of them's Hayden Yinger. He just made his debut with the Toronto Blue Jays last week, but he would always tell me he never sets like statistical goals, and he only won, and it's innings pitched. Like he's like, if I reach my innings pitch, that just means I was healthy, which is obviously a great goal to have, and that I was there for my team when they needed me. So I don't know. I always like I'm sure a lot of guys do set statistical goals, but I know it might drive you crazy. So I don't hate it at all. So all right, Jacob, I appreciate all the time. Obviously, I'm wishing you best of luck going forward in 26, but thank you again for doing this.
Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate you reaching out. This is a great time. Thank you very much.